The river always moved faster at dusk. Daniel Foster learned this during the first week after he got out, watching the current drag fallen branches downstream as if eager to swallow anything careless enough to drift close. He liked that ruthlessness. It made sense to him. Clean. Predictable. Fairer than most people had met. He came down to the water that evening to check the fishing lines and clear his thoughts. The sky was a fading purple, and mist clung to the surface of the river like thin breath. The forest behind him was quiet, the kind of quiet that came only in places where people were rare. He bent down to pull the line in when he heard it. Not a splash. Not an animal. A cry, sharp, strangled, and swallowed instantly by the water. Daniel's head snapped toward the sound. At first he saw nothing, just the blurred reflection of the trees and sky. Then something broke the surface, a hand, pale, trembling, and then sinking again. He didn't shout. Didn't think. He just moved. He sprinted along the riverbank toward the deeper section where the current twisted sharply around a bend. He dove into the freezing water, the cold hitting him like a punch. For a second he lost his breath, but he kept swimming, pushing against the current, eyes scanning for movement. There, dark hair, a shoulder, fingers barely above the surface. He lunged and grabbed hold of an arm. The body was limp, almost lifeless. With a grunt, Daniel dragged the girl against his chest and kicked hard toward the shore. Each stroke burned his muscles, but he didn't stop until his feet hit the muddy bottom. He carried her to the grass and laid her down. She wasn't breathing right, shallow gasps, skin burning cold under his hands. Her clothes were soaked, torn, and muddy as if she had been running, stumbling, falling. "Hey," he said, tapping her cheek gently. "Stay with me." Her eyelids fluttered, then opened just long enough for him to see terror in them. Real, bone-deep terror. He lifted her in his arms and hurried toward his cabin hidden among the pines. Inside, he set her on the couch, lit the stove, wrapped her in blankets, and rubbed warmth back into her hands. Finally, her breathing steadied. Her eyes opened again, softer this time, but still wary. "You're safe," Daniel said quietly. "I've got you." She swallowed, voice barely audible. I fell." "No," he said gently. "You were running from something." Her gaze jerked away. He didn't push. He knew something about running. "Drink," he said, handing her a warm mug. She obeyed with trembling fingers. After a long silence, she whispered, "My name is Lily." "Daniel," he replied. She nodded, still pulling the blanket tightly around herself like armor. After a few minutes, her eyes drooped, exhaustion winning. He let her sleep, keeping the fire strong through the night. Lily stayed unconscious for hours, and Daniel used the time to gather what little he understood. She was young, 18 or 19. She had bruises along her arms, scratches on her knees, the kind of marks that didn't come from slipping on rocks. When she finally woke again, the sky outside was pale with morning light. "Where am I?" she whispered. "My place," Daniel said. "Middle of nowhere. You're safe here." She sat up slowly, wincing. "Why did you help me?" He raised an eyebrow. "Should I not have?" She shook her head quickly. "No, it's just most people don't." Daniel almost laughed, not at her, but at how painfully familiar that feeling was. He cooked her something simple, eggs and bread, and she ate carefully, like someone who wasn't used to being offered anything without consequence. Hours passed. Lily drifted from room to room like a shadow, warming herself by the fire, staring out the window, flinching whenever a branch cracked outside. At one point, Daniel found her standing rigid by the door, staring at the forest. "Expecting someone?" he asked. The panic in her eyes confirmed everything he suspected. She clutched the doorframe for balance. "Hez looking for me," she whispered. "Who?" Silence. Silence filled with fear. Daniel didn't insist. "Instead," he said, "he won't find you here." She looked at him, searching his face for deception, but Daniel wasn't a man who lied. His past had stripped that out of him. By evening she seemed calmer. She even sat across from him at the table, legs tucked under her like a child hiding from a storm. "Are you always alone here?" she asked. "Mostly. And you like it? It keeps things simple." She glanced at his arms, at the faint scars, the old prison ink near his wrist. "You've been through things," she said without judgment, only observation. "So have you," he replied. Their eyes met briefly before she looked away, cheeks warming with embarrassment. Over the next days, the cabin grew less silent. Lily talked more, slowly at first, then in longer, hesitant stories. She had loved drawing since she was a kid. She hated thunderstorms. She never learned to swim. She stopped trusting people a long time ago. But she still didn't say who she was running from. Daniel didn't demand answers. He fixed the broken chair, chopped wood, repaired the roof before the first snow. Lily followed him sometimes, helping where she could even though she was still recovering. She would sit on the porch steps with his old jacket around her shoulders, sketching the pines. "You draw well," Daniel said once. She almost smiled. "I used to draw every day. Then things got bad." He nodded slowly. "Drawing again is good. Means you're getting some of yourself back." She didn't answer, but her eyes softened with gratitude. At night, she sometimes woke up gasping from nightmares. Daniel would sit nearby, leaving the lamp on until she calmed. She never told him what the dreams were about, but he didn't need explanations. He recognized the look of someone who had survived too much. One morning, while she helped sweep the porch, she suddenly paused, staring down the forest trail. "Daniel," she whispered, voice trembling. He stepped beside her, following her gaze. A footprint in the frost. Fresh. Too fresh. Daniel felt his muscles tighten. He knelt, touching the ground. Someone had been there, watching, listening. When he looked up, Lily's face was pale. "He found me," she whispered, tears gathering. "Who?" "My stepfather." The words were cracked, thin, as if forced through a throat that had cried too much already. Daniel exhaled slowly. The pieces fit together, the bruises, the fear, the desperate escape. He wasn't surprised, only angry in a way he hadn't been in years. "You're staying here," he said. "Hez not taking you anywhere." "But Hez dangerous. So am I," Daniel said calmly. Something like trust flickered in her eyes. That night, the river roared louder than usual, wind shaking the branches like restless spirits. Daniel secured the doors, checked his old rifle, and kept the lanterns lit. Lily sat near the fire, knees drawn to her chest. "He won't give up," she whispered. "I won't either," Daniel said. She looked at him then, really looked, and in her eyes he saw not fear, but the fragile hope of someone who desperately wanted to believe in safety again. Hours passed. Nothing moved outside except the wind. Lily eventually fell asleep on the couch, her breathing steady. Daniel sat in the armchair, watching the door, listening to the forest. At dawn, the trail was empty again. Whoever had come near the cabin had retreated. For now. But something changed in Lily that morning. She was still frightened, but the edge of panic was gone. She clung to the idea that Daniel wouldn't let her face danger alone. And for the first time in years, Daniel felt that protecting someone wasn't a burden, it was purpose. The sheriff came by days later, checking the area. "Someone's been wandering near your property," Sheriff Cole said, scanning the trees. "Tracks everywhere." Daniel exchanged a quick glance with Lily. Cole noticed. "You two okay?" Daniel hesitated. Lily nodded faintly, stepping forward. "It's my stepfather," she said quietly. "Hez looking for me. I ran because I had to." The sheriff's expression hardened. "If he shows up here, he'll handle it. You have my word." Daniel felt a weight lift from Lily's shoulders, not completely, but enough that she stood straighter. Cole added, "He won't get near her again." The sheriff spent the next few days patrolling the forest paths. The presence of law enforcement seemed to drive the danger back. Footprints stopped appearing. The woods grew quiet again, truly quiet. One evening, after Cole left, Lily stepped onto the porch, breathing in the cold air. "It feels different," she said softly. "How?" "Like I can breathe again." Daniel leaned against the railing, arms crossed. "Good. You deserve that." She looked up at him, eyes warm in the dim light. "You gave me more than safety, Daniel. You gave me a place where I wasn't afraid." He swallowed, unsure how to respond to something that sincere. She added, "I don't think I would have survived without you. And you won't have to go back to that life," he said. "Not ever." A long silence settled between them, comfortable, gentle. Lily took a small step closer. "What happens now?" Daniel glanced at the forest, then the river, then at her. "Now," he said quietly, "we start new." She smiled, truly smiled, for the first time since he found her in the river. Inside, the fire crackled softly. The cabin felt warmer than ever, not because of the heat but because, at last, it wasn't holding just one lost soul. It was holding two people who had finally found a place to heal. And outside, the river continued on, steady and unstoppable, carrying the past away downstream. Winter settled over the forest faster than Daniel expected. The first snow covered the old paths and softened the sharp edges of the world. The river slowed to a quiet murmur, and for the first time in weeks, Lily slept without waking from nightmares. The sheriff kept his word. After several days of tracking, he found Lily's stepfather trying to slip through the neighboring county. A confrontation followed, but it ended quickly. He was arrested, charged, and taken far away, with no chance of coming back. When Sheriff Cole came to the cabin to tell them, Lily listened in silence, hands trembling around a cup of tea. She didn't smile, didn't cry, just let out a long, shaking breath she had been holding for too many years. After the sheriff left, she walked outside alone. The snowflakes melted in her hair as she looked toward the river. Daniel joined her quietly. "So it's over," she whispered. "It is," he replied. She hesitated, then turned to him. "I thought I would feel nothing. Emptiness. But I don't. What do you feel?" She watched the trees sway gently under the weight of snow. "Free," she said at last. "For the first time." Daniel nodded slowly. He wasn't a man of speeches, he never had been, but hearing that word felt like a warm flame in the cold. "Good," he said. "You deserve that." They stood in silence as the river reflected the fading orange of sunset. Lily took a deep breath, her shoulders relaxing in a way he hadn't seen before. "I don't know what happens next," she admitted. "I don't have a home to go back to." Daniel looked at her, then at the cabin, small, old, rough around the edges, much like himself. He cleared his throat. "You don't have to go anywhere," he said. "Not unless you want to." She turned toward him quickly, surprised. "Are you sure?" He met her eyes. "Yeah, I am." Slowly, as if afraid she might break the moment, Lily stepped closer. "You saved me twice, Daniel. First from the river and then from my past." He felt heat rise in his chest, the kind he hadn't felt in a very long time. "You saved me too, you know. I was just existing before you came. Just getting by." Lily's eyes softened with something warm and fragile. "So we start over together?" Daniel let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. "Together sounds good." She smiled, small at first, then brighter, genuine. The snow fell lightly around them, catching in her hair, framing her face in soft white. For the first time since Daniel had found her half-drowned in the river, she didn't look lost. She looked like someone who finally knew where she belonged. He opened the cabin door for her, and warm firelight poured out, painting the snow with gold. Lily stepped inside, glancing back only once to be sure he was right behind her. He was. And as the door closed, shutting out the winter wind, both of them understood something unspoken. The past had finally let them go. The danger was behind them. And ahead of them was a life neither had expected, but both had earned. Spring arrived quietly, almost shyly, as if afraid to disturb the new peace that had settled over the cabin. The river ran clear again, no longer a place of fear but a ribbon of silver weaving through the forest. The air smelled of pine and thawing earth, and birds returned one by one, filling the mornings with sound. Lily had changed in ways Daniel could see even without words. She moved differently now, steadier, lighter. Sometimes he would catch her humming while chopping vegetables or reading by the window. She still had shadows in her eyes, but they no longer ruled her. They were simply something she carried, not something that carried her. Daniel changed too, though he never said so aloud. He found himself waking earlier, working harder, laughing more often. He rebuilt the old shed, fixed the fence, even started planting a small garden with Lily, something he'd never imagined doing before. Each day seemed to mark another quiet victory over the man he used to be. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the treetops, Lily stood on the porch with a small journal in her hands. Daniel joined her, wiping dust from his gloves. "I've been writing," she said softly. "About everything that happened. About you." Daniel looked at her with mild surprise. "Me?" She smiled. "You changed my life. I'm writing it down so I never forget how it started." He shifted awkwardly, unused to praise. "You're the one who kept going. You're the strong one." "Maybe," she said, turning a page between her fingers. "But strength is easier to find when someone stands beside you." They watched the sky fade into deep blue, the stars appearing one by one. The world felt bigger now, but not as frightening as it once had. "So," Daniel said quietly, "you think we'll be okay?" Lily leaned her head against his shoulder, a gentle answer in itself. "We already are." The cabin's windows glowed warm behind them. The river flowed steadily below. Their pasts were scars, not chains. And the future, for the first time, felt like something they could choose. Together. And that's where my story ends. Thank you for staying with me. Don't forget to follow, and until we meet again.